We are gathered today in native space and on the traditional lands of the Massachusetts tribe. I am here speaking as a member of the Massachusetts tribe at Ponkapog. When indigenous communities in the United States gather, they traditionally acknowledge and honor the ancestral holders of the land they are meeting on. I am here today because the Harvard Chan Dean's Office has taken the important step of incorporating this acknowledgement of native land and peoples into the Convocation activities. For this, I sincerely thank the school for its leadership. Many people find it hard to imagine an urban environment as native space. But what does it mean to be in native space? For thousands of years, my people have been a part of this place. We belong to this place, and alterations to the landscape cannot change this. Here is where we laughed, cried, loved, made music, practiced our beliefs, shared both food and knowledge, and made both useful and sacred things. Here is where we raised our children and buried and honored our dead. Here is where we interacted with people who came from across the oceans. These interactions brought new things, new tensions, new ideas, new challenges. Here is where some of the visitors brought diseases that killed most of our people, leaving those who were left behind bereft. Here is where those of us who survived remained and continued to make our lives. Here is where English colonists began their conquest of the continent. Here is where our relationships with the colonists were built, destroyed, and built again. Some of these relationships were friendly and beneficial. Others were fraught with conflict, sadness, and loss. Here is where the state of Massachusetts retains the name of the people who have always lived here. We all invoke and acknowledge native space each time we see, hear, say, or write the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It was in native space that Harvard University began its long history. Harvard was founded with a charter that committed to the education of both English and Indian youth. Here is where knowledge and expertise were exchanged between native and English students. Here is where we learned each other's languages. Here is where the Bible was translated by native peoples into the Massachusetts language and then printed at Harvard's Indian College as the first book printed on the first printing press in North America. Here is where we used our literacy and knowledge to advocate for our people. And here is where the language of our ancestors was lost. Here is where those who came to live among us saw land, resources, and sometimes people as commodities. Here is where we maintained, sometimes in secret, our commitment to our own values and beliefs about the nature of the world, the land, resources, and people. Here is where we made alliances, intermarried, and made new communities with people from other native communities and with those from other cultures. Here is where we continue to make our lives. Here is where we laugh, cry, love, make music, practice our beliefs, share food and knowledge, and make useful and sacred things. Here is where we raise our children and honor and bury our dead. Honoring the land means honoring everything that we are part of. It acknowledges our inseparable connectedness with everything else in the world. It acknowledges that all we do has an effect on everything else. So I honor all of the directions. I honor the land. I honor the water. I honor the sky. I honor the sun, the moon, and the stars. I honor all living things that share this space with us. I honor the ancestors that came before me and those who will come after me. I honor everything that now lives with respect within this space. The honoring of native land may be new to you, and it's only a very small part of this event. But I ask you to remember that wherever you are in the Americas, you are in native space, and that there are indigenous people who belong to that place. May all we do in native spaces both honor the land and prepare the way for all of those to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth Solomon. Wow. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Dear graduating students of the class of 2018. I welcome you, I welcome your family members, your friends, and dear member of our faculty, staff, and to the larger Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health community, I say welcome. This is an exciting day. I am thrilled to be among the first to congratulate the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health class of 2018 on finishing this step of their journey and joining the ranks of Harvard Chan alumni. You are an impressive group. You are altogether 663 individuals receiving degrees. You come from all over the globe. 64 countries are represented among you, our graduates of 2018. You also come from 39 US states and the District of Columbia. It is wonderful to be here today, as it's been every day since you arrived and joined our orientation program. But there is one graduate, I must say, who is not able to join us, and he deserves a special congratulations, and I'm sure you concur. Conan So, your classmate, was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in early April, and he had to rush home to Seattle to start his treatment. His teachers made special arrangements to enable him to participate in his remaining classes. And despite a grueling regimen of chemotherapy, Conan maintained a 4.0 GPA. He successfully completed his coursework and is graduating on time with his classmates, you. I'm sure you join me in congratulating Conan on this astonishing feat, and that we all wish him fast recovery and a quick return to the work that he's doing to improve the health of others. Now, I've got a couple of stories to tell you, and I'm going to start with this first one. Imagine back in 1997 in a small town called Yuma, Arizona. A teacher by the name of Judith Tunsing was teaching 6th grade students in a public school where 100% of those students qualified for free school lunch. Mrs. Tunsing had a remarkable student in her class. In fact, the student was a class president. Working with 2 classmates, this particular student completed a science project that Mrs. Tunsing remembers to this day. 6th grade. The 6th graders, as a team, wrote a 100-page prospectus, interviewed the mayor, and envisioned how recycling could work in their town 15 years before it was actually implemented. How prescient, these 6th graders. At the end of the year, Ms. Tunsing wrote a note on the 12-year-old's report card. The note read, and I quote, "It's been a joy to have you in class. Keep up the good work. Invite me to your Harvard graduation." Guess what? That student's here among you, the class of 2018. That student is your own Kristen Gilmer. Kristen kept that report card, and now she's graduating from Harvard with her Doctor of Public Health degree, and so I congratulate you, Kristen. It is a special privilege also for me to welcome Mrs. Tunson here today to watch you cross the stage. And to Mrs. Tunson, who's in the audience today, I thank you for your work and the work of so many other teachers at every grade level. It is so immeasurably important. You don't just teach young people. You inspire them, and you propel them forward along a path of fulfillment and service to others. Your work is what makes our faculty's work here, possible. Thank you for everything you do, and please send students our way. I want to congratulate everyone who has made this day possible. So many family members, so many friends, mentors, and supporters. Thank you. I know all of you are just as proud as these graduates as I am, and you too deserve a raucous round of applause. So I promised you I was going to share another story. Here it comes. Imagine now it's the Roaring '20s, an exciting time of technological growth and innovation in the United States. The Harvard-MIT School of Health Officers has just changed its name to the Harvard School of Public Health. And a young assistant professor in the Department of Ventilation and Illumination, a man by the name of Philip Drinker, has begun a collaboration with Boston Children's Hospital. Drinker had created a unique air-conditioned room designed to help keep premature infants alive. But the technology was new, and whenever the room's temperature fell by a half a degree, can you imagine a thermometer that precise in the 20s? When it fell a half a degree, the nurses would call Drinker, and he would rush to the hospital to make adjustments. On his way to repair the air conditioner, the young professor would pass rows of beds filled with polio-stricken children, suffering from respiratory paralysis. Their small blue faces, the children struggling for air, were seared into this young professor's memory. This harrowing experience of witnessing children gasping for air changed Drinker's life. He made it his mission to find a way to bring about solutions that would help these children breathe. And over the months that followed, he invented the Drinker respirator, now known to the world as the iron lung, which went on to become a critical device in battling the symptoms of polio. 90 years ago this year, on a Sunday morning in 1928, the first patient to use the respirator was an 8-year-old girl. When Drinker arrived at Children's Hospital, she was unconscious. The hospital staff had placed her in the machine, but they were so afraid to turn it on, they wouldn't start it until Drinker arrived. He arrived and started the pump, and within minutes, this little unconscious girl regained consciousness and promptly asked for ice cream. And as Drinker's sister wrote later, as this little girl came back to life wanting ice cream, he stood there and cried. It was a pivotal milestone in the fight against polio, responsible for saving thousands of lives. But it was just the beginning of this story. In the decades following, many heroic researchers followed in Drinker's footsteps. They attacked the problem from an entirely set of different angles and began working on an even more ambitious project, and that is to bring about the polio vaccine. So here's another protagonist in my story, Thomas Weller. Thomas Weller, who would later become a Harvard School of Public Health professor, was one of those researchers who changed the world. Weller unlocked the ability to grow poliovirus in a laboratory, a landmark breakthrough that would pave the path towards creating a vaccine. And soon after that, Jonas Salk and Albert Bruce Sapin picked up where he left off, developing safe and effective vaccines, which over time completely eliminated polio from the United States. This traditionally is how members of the public health community remember the origins of the polio vaccine. But this story isn't complete. In fact, it's just getting really fun. Because the fight of polio was not isolated in the ivory towers, laboratories, and classrooms of Harvard, or even Boston Children's Hospital. It was a national project, a social movement, if you will, which brought about millions of men, women, and even children of all ages, race, and creeds to pursue a common goal. Founded by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, this movement eventually became known as the March of Dimes. And at its peak, President Roosevelt was receiving 50,000 letters every day at the White House, filled not only with dimes, but quarters and even occasionally dollar bills. According to FDR, these letters were, and I quote, mostly from children who want other children to get well, end quote. In just a few short years, the organization brought in billions of dimes, which fueled the funding for polio treatment and eventually financed Salk's famous vaccine. I tell you this story today, I take the time to share this story today with you for two main reasons. First, it illustrates the power of one individual committed to making a difference, whether that's Drinker or Weller or Salk, or any one of those small children who took it upon themselves to find the time to write a letter to their president and to enclose whatever they could, even if it was just a single dime, in that letter. The second reason I share this story with you is to remind you of the importance of building movements bigger than any one person, bigger than any one faculty, any one department, or even any one institution. because together, diverse minds working together really is the only way to make a difference on the global scale, which we all desire to do. The March of Dimes, of course, is just one example of the importance of individual courage rolled up with open-hearted collaboration. Late one night in October 1980, Harvard Chan School graduate Donald Hopkins had an idea. He scrambled out of bed and began writing. That night, Donald Hopkins detailed a plan to eradicate guinea worm disease, one of the world's most gruesome and preventable illness. As of the mid-1980s, guinea worm was affecting 3.5 million people across more than 20 countries. Today, only 2 countries report cases of guinea worm. And in 2017, there were only 26 people with the disease worldwide. Still 26 too many, but what an achievement. Donald Hopkins should serve, and does serve, as an inspiration for everyone here today. As President Jimmy Carter once put it, and I quote, "There have been few heroes in my life, and Dr. Donald R. Hopkins is one of them," end quote. But Don Hopkins would be the first to tell you that he alone did not take down guinea worm. Thousands of brilliant public health officials, doctors, and human rights advocates from the World Health Organization and the Carter Center played indispensable roles in his story. So too did African ministers of health who pledged to support their support, as well as chemical companies that donated larvicide to kill guinea worm-laden water fleas, and the firm that sent millions of square yards of nylon to affected areas so that individuals could filter their water and have clean water free of charge. This was truly a global display of collective action, spawned by the relentless positivity of just one public health leader. Don Hopkins' optimism was born in part from his involvement in the battle to eradicate smallpox. The long journey towards ridding the world of smallpox actually began way back in 1796, when a man named Edward Jenner realized that the only group of people in his community who weren't catching the disease were milkmaids, who had once been infected by cowpox. Shortly after that observation, Jenner had the crazy idea of injecting an 8-year-old boy with cowpox to see if he would be protected against smallpox. And on that day, the vaccine was born. But it would take centuries and a diverse collection of scientists, doctors, governments, and nonprofits coming together to eradicate the disease from all 7 of our continents, something we still haven't been able to do with polio. In a recent article I came across this semester in the Boston Globe, MIT professor Thomas Levinson wrote, and I will quote here, "In polio's tenacious survival, we can trace the historical evolution of a world in which it is, at least for now, getting harder to mount collective action for common good." I can see exactly where Professor Levinson is coming from as he wrote that statement. At a time when science itself is being cynically undermined and treated as if it is just one belief system among many, when facts are in danger of losing their meaning, marshaling collective action can sometimes feel impossible. But this past year has shown us that even today, even in 2018, movements like the March of Dimes really still are possible. After the shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, a few brave students chose to speak up, and they ignited a massive public health movement. And now, millions of Americans are walking out of schools and marching down streets, demanding a safer country. After a few courageous women spoke out in the New York Times and in the New Yorker about the abuse they faced in Hollywood, millions of women have followed and are taking on their abusers and their enablers and shouting out those words, harrowing and empowering as they are, "Me too." You, the class of 2018, showed what's possible when you organized to support public health colleagues and patients in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. In your willingness to stand up, you make our school, our university, and the entire country more diverse and inclusive and responsive at every level. And in the work so many of you do, you support communities and lift lives ranging from Mission Hill to Mumbai. These movements should serve as an inspiration. They should serve as an inspiration to and a call for action for every person here today. As graduates of the Harvard T.H. School of Public Health, you are armed with knowledge. You are armed with skills that make you uniquely well-equipped to bring about lasting change on a population scale. But as powerful as we are individually, it is nothing compared to what we're capable of doing together. Public health has always been about hunting in packs, collaborating across boundaries of all kinds. That is the lesson of the war on polio. It's the lesson of the eradication of smallpox. And it should be a lesson we never lose sight of as we work to unlock human progress and build a healthier world. Which raises a question. What exactly are we working towards? What does it even mean to be healthy? Innovations like the polio vaccine have enormous implications for public health. They save and improve lives on an astonishing scale. But they are narrow in their effects. They only protect us physically, and they only fend off one disease at a time. But as I know you all know, the WHO defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. And this definition obligates us to consider not just the absence of disease or infirmity, not just the health of individual bodies, but also of whole people and entire communities. We use the word well-being, thriving, and flourishing to get at that idea. I especially like the word flourishing because it speaks to continued growth and positive change, not just a static state of being. The idea of human flourishing also encompasses the social connections we form along the way, at religious gatherings and at family dinners, on meditation retreats, and cheering on our home runs and great field plays from the bleachers of our own Fenway Park. It is even part of the relationships that are built during the late-night study sessions that you all have had and the vibrant classroom discussions. For the people here today, there is no better place to find these sorts of human connections and this kind of meaning than in one another. The community that you have helped to create during your time here is not breaking up today. It's not dissolving. I prefer to think of it as a geographic expansion. You will be spreading out, but you will remain connected to Harvard T.H. School of Public Health. Tom Ensel, an entrepreneur and former head of the National Institute of Mental Health, and a recent keynote speaker at our faculty retreat, recently mused about creating a Camelot of public-private partnerships. This is a powerful idea, but I'd like to take Tom's words one step further. Let's aspire to make a community a Camelot of collaboration, a home for innovation where together we can achieve things no biostatistician or epidemiologist, no policy analyst or social scientist, no immunologist or geneticist, sorry, chairs, no expert or activist could ever do alone. So I have to leave you with one message today, and I hope it is this. No matter where you end up next, never lose sight of the spirit of collaboration. In the words of one of my favorite African proverbs, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. This moment in our history presents plenty of new challenges, but the solutions today is the same as it was 90 years ago at the beginning of the battle against polio. Individual courage paired with a fierce commitment to working together, a fierce commitment to collaboration. So I hope you will think like Drinker, think like Weller, think like Don Hopkins, and the kids whose influence stretches from the March of Dimes to the March for Our Lives. I hope all of you will continue to find the courage to go after the really big problems that you cannot fix alone and discover new ways to solve those problems together. The relationships that you've made here during your time with us and the habits of working together to tackle big problems that matter, these are as powerful and as important as the knowledge and the degrees that you are carrying forward into the world. Most of all, I want all of you to remember that one person with an idea is unimaginably powerful. But the power of collective action, that's really where we get to change the world. Thank you. Thank you all for the chance to speak here and for allowing me the privilege to serve as your dean. It's now my great pleasure to introduce our student speaker this afternoon, Jamison Languorous. This accomplished scholar is a member of the inaugural cohort of the 65-credit Public Health Master's Degree Program, and today he'll be receiving his MPH in Health Management. Before I ask Jamison to step up to the podium, I would like to tell you a little bit about him. He graduated from Drexel University in 2010, and then he went on and worked several part-time positions through the latter stage of the Great Recession. Eventually, he landed at the University of Pennsylvania's Unit for Experimental Psychiatry. While working full-time at Penn, he was also a full-time student in Penn's Graduate School of Education, where he focused on education policy. His practicum examined summer enrichment programs and their impact on students' achievements. After receiving a Master's of Science in Education, he worked in neuro-oncology clinical trials at Yale before enrolling at the Harvard Chan School. During his time here, while working towards his MPH, Jamison attended classes with a specific interest on financial management of endowments and improving quality and safety in healthcare delivery. He also took several electives in oncology. In addition to his academic studies, he briefly spent time at Mass General Hospital's Allergy and Immunology Department before returning to Yale to continue his work in oncology. For his practicum, he evaluated workload differences between phases of oncology clinical trials offered at Yale. Looking to the future and armed with the skills and knowledge he has developed at the Harvard Chan School, Jamison will return for a short term to Yale while preparing to shift his career towards public service. Please join me in welcoming today's student speaker, Jamison Languorous.
Greetings to Dean Williams, President Robinson, faculty, staff, and alumni, and to the class of 2018, congratulations. Congratulations to our parents, friends, and loved ones, without whom today wouldn't be as special, as it is a day we have all earned and should cherish together. How many of you have ever smelled chocolate in a cornfield? This unexpected confectionery charring your lungs is a welcome surprise in such a dry, confined space. But I think the best way to describe it is as a home I can't go back to. In 1909, a successful chocolatier and his wife started a free, non-sectarian school in Pennsylvania for white orphan boys. The students attended year-round, living in small dormitories called student homes, working on the farm. To this day, it remains a free education for our nation's poorest of any color, religion, gender identity, or family structure. I remember my first days there very clearly. It was January. I was 7. I had not been really taught how to use utensils, so I preferred to eat with my hands. And I had the attention span of a puppy. So it's very similar to my first days here at Harvard. My first class was in an accelerated course that I mistakenly thought was a part of orientation. On our first day, we were given an hour to write and present a speech that tapped into our personal story, something I always dread. However, through that experience, I learned that everyone benefits when people tell their stories. So I would like to tell you a little bit of my story to make the case for you to break barriers for others. I am standing here today because of people, like Mr. and Mrs. Bertrand from my student home, which was called Englewood. I arrived there with a discipline record that limited my opportunities at the school. But instead of being just disciplinarians, my house parents said, "That isn't who you are to us." They broke barriers for all of their students in many ways. Unconditionally, we were their boys. I would not be standing here today if I had graduated from a different student home. I had house parents who cared. And, separate from that, as a white man, I have also benefited from an unearned privilege, which is not true for everyone. If we look at education over the past 30 years, students who are not white or male have been increasingly denied or discouraged from the academic track, unfairly disciplined, and their schools deliberately under-resourced. Growing up, I saw how barriers like zero-tolerance policies destroyed the lives of people I cared about. Segregation is not just an issue in education, but I believe it is the public health issue of our time. It is a large part as to why Flint, Michigan still does not have clean water. Worldwide, we also find the same inequitable pattern of power and powerlessness in which people are denied access to fundamental rights and resources on the basis of race, ethnicity, caste, gender, and religion. I came to Harvard for the same reason that you did, to learn how to change the world. Today is as much a celebration of our accomplishments as it is an affirmation of our commitment to serving others. Today is as much about those of us who are here as it is about those who are not. We didn't come here to aid and abet the status quo, but to become leaders who would stand up, speak up, and help empower people who have been denied a platform. People whose absence shapes our discussions and lives. Imagine all the brilliant ideas that we have never heard due to barriers that aim to segregate us, like the school-to-prison pipeline. We graduating students of the Harvard T.H. School of Public Health are privileged to leave here with a set of tools that can aid us in changing the world. So I leave you with a question. How are you going to break down barriers to serve others and create a healthier world? Thank you.
It is now my great honor to introduce our 2018 Convocation speaker, someone I've long admired, Mary Robinson. Mary is known throughout the world as a passionate advocate for peace, democracy, human rights, planetary sustainability, and public health. Among her many and varied accomplishments, Mary served as President of Ireland from 1990 to 1997, and as UN Commissioner for Human Rights from 1997 to 2002. Those two important roles represent just a small fraction of Mary's effort in service to humanity. As you will learn, Mary makes a practice of working to improve people's lives. Between 2013 and 2016, she served as the UN Secretary General's Special Envoy in 3 roles: for the Great Lakes region of Africa for climate change, and most recently for El Niño and climate, and former president of the International Commission of Jurists and former chair of the Council of Women's World Leaders. Mary was president and founder of Realizing Rights, the Ethical Globalization Initiative from 2002 to 2010. She served as honorary president of Oxfam International from 2002 to 2012. And among her numerous accolades, honors, and awards, she received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Barack Obama in 2009. Mary's memoir, entitled Everybody Matters, was published in 2012. Her current endeavors are as many and as meaningful as those from her past. She is president of the Mary Robinson Foundation Climate Justice, a Dublin-based organization that promotes climate justice, human rights, and women's empowerment. She has been chancellor of the University of Dublin since 1998, and she is a member of a number of organizations and boards, including, among many others, the Elders, an independent group of global leaders working together for peace and human rights, the Club of Madrid, an independent nonprofit organization, former democratic presidents and prime ministers that promote democracy in the international community, Sustainable Energy for All, the lead group of the Scale Up Nutrition Movement, the Mo Ibrahim Foundation, and the European Climate Foundation. Although Mary is known for her global work, I am proud to say that she is also a member of our Harvard community. She received a Master's of Law degree from Harvard Law School in 1968 and a Doctor of Law degree in 1998, when she was also the law school's commencement speaker. As our country faces great uncertainties in the area of human rights and environmental policy, and as the world faces the consequences of climate change and other threats to human health, we are fortunate to have this opportunity to hear insights from one of the world's leading champions of universal justice and planetary sustainability. I'm delighted, in fact humbled and privileged, to welcome Mary Robinson, a true champion of the values that we hold dear in public health. Please join me in welcoming Mary Robinson.
Good morning. I'm honored and delighted to address the graduating class of 2018 at Harvard T.H School of Public Health. I must say, I was very moved yesterday when I went along to the awards ceremony, and I heard something I've never heard before, and it was really, really well done. 13 students took the preamble to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and spoke that preamble in 13 languages. And I gather you do this each year. It's a wonderful example. And actually, I just want to complete, after the preamble is Article 1 of the Universal Declaration. And the first sentence of Article 1 captures for me what human rights means. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. And once you appreciate that. And I also want to note the way in which you made space at the very beginning of this convocation ceremony for a voice on behalf of Indigenous peoples and to honor the land. That too is something I haven't heard at convocations or commencement ceremonies. So well done, the Harvard T.H School of Public Health. As I see it, you're in the right place at the right time. And you have the talent, the training, the commitment, and the expertise to meet the challenges ahead. And listening to your student speaker, he also was challenging you to live up to this. But more about that later. Allow me a nostalgic moment as I reflect on having been 50 years ago part of the class of 1968, graduating with my master's from Harvard Law School. I've often referred to the positive impact which that year in Harvard had on me. Many of my American contemporaries were critical of what they viewed as an immoral war in Vietnam. They were heading not for the lucrative Wall Street law firms, but to tackle racial discrimination and to work on poverty programs in the south of this country. We mourned the assassination of Martin Luther King in April that year, and were further shocked by the assassination of Robert Kennedy just after we graduated. But what impressed me most of all was that young people around me in Harvard were prepared to take on responsibility, to show leadership, and to be determined to make great changes in society. And that was different from the Ireland I had grown up in, where young people were told to wait your turn, wait, now you're in your 30s, wait a bit longer, now you're in your early 40s, wait a bit longer. It was different. And it seems to me that you are graduating at a similar time of deep uncertainty, but of great potential for a better future. As you know, the international community faces a great challenge in stabilizing the climate. We need to reach zero carbon emissions by 2050 in order to have the best possible chance of keeping warming well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels and hopefully stabilizing at 1.5 degrees Celsius. However, the commitments made by countries to date in their nationally determined contributions, NDCs, national targets for curbing climate-altering greenhouse gases leave a considerable gap between the commitments pledged and the action needed. If we continue with business as usual, we're on track for at least a 3.5 degrees warmer world compared with pre-industrial levels. This would lead to extreme and potentially irreversible impacts on natural ecosystems and on human health. Basically, it would be catastrophic, and that is what we are headed for unless we can bend the curve and change. President Trump's decision to pull the United States out of the Paris Agreement, although it cannot take full effect until the 4th of November 2020, was a severe blow to climate action. I do note that your next presidential election is the 3rd of November 2020, so maybe things can change. And in fact, that decision to pull out of the Paris Agreement was met by two very positive responses. Every other country committed to staying the course, and here in the United States, a broad alliance of states, cities, business, philanthropy, universities, and civil society adopted a declaration called "We Are Still In," which concludes as follows, and I quote, "It is imperative that the world know that in the United States, the actors that will provide the leadership necessary to meet our Paris commitment are found in city halls, state capitals, colleges and universities, investors and businesses. Together, we will remain actively engaged with the international community as part of the global effort to hold warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius and to accelerate the transition to a clean energy economy that will benefit our society, prosperity and health." End quote. Climate change isn't just an issue of atmospheric science. It's also about human rights. Climate change undermines the enjoyment of the full range of human rights, from the right to life, to food, to shelter, and of course, to health. The situation is particularly acute for people living in vulnerable situations owing to geography, gender, age, race, poverty, disability, or social status. It's an injustice that the people who have contributed least to the causes of the problem suffer the worst impacts of climate change. The impacts of climate change on the right to health are now well understood. You'll recall the 2015 Lancet Commission on Health and Climate Change, which documents the direct impacts of heat stress, droughts, floods, and increasing frequency of intense storms on human health, as well as the indirect impacts on health caused by air pollution, spread of disease vectors, food and nutrition insecurity, and mental illness, among others. The central finding of the 2015 Lancet Commission is, and I quote, that tackling climate change would be the greatest global health opportunity of the 21st century. So acting on climate change makes sense for health reasons as well as environmental and economic reasons. And let's remember that we are the first generation to fully understand how serious the climate crisis is, and the last generation with time to be able to do something about it. That is the story. The fifth assessment report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, published in 2014, states with high confidence, and you know scientists, they never say absolutely definitely. High confidence is as much as you'll get. They state with high confidence that global warming has exacerbated health problems which already exist in our world. As this century continues, the IPCC experts expects climate change to lead to increases in ill health in many regions as compared to a planet without the impacts of climate change. Examples include greater likelihood of injury, disease, and death due to more intense heat waves and fires, increased likelihood of undernutrition resulting from diminished food production in poor regions, risks from lost work capacity and reduced labor productivity in vulnerable populations, and increased risks from food and waterborne diseases. The report also clarifies that while people all over the world are vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, the poor and marginalized are the most vulnerable. And it was with this in mind that I believe the world needs to respond with a climate justice approach to shaping a global response that is rights-based in its actions to lower emissions and build resilience. All too often, it's women who are most at risk from the impacts of climate change on health. The report of Working Group 2 of the IPCC reveals that vulnerable groups, including women, will experience adverse effects on their health due to the impacts of climate change. It finds that regions of Africa with little financial resources, inadequate public health and healthcare systems, insufficient access to safe water and sanitation, food insecurity, and poor governance will be most affected by climate-induced health issues. And indeed, I would say are most affected by climate-induced health issues. Poor populations in rural areas are most vulnerable to climate-induced health issues, and factors that increase vulnerability include inadequate or no mosquito protection and limited access to healthcare facilities offering effective diagnostic testing and treatment. So that's the global health challenge. But let me now come nearer to home and address the most fundamental issue facing the health and well-being of the American people: your country's failure to achieve universal health coverage. As you're very well aware in this audience, universal health coverage means that everybody receives the health services they need without suffering financial hardship. It's a key target within the Health Sustainable Development Goal. All countries, including the United States, signed up to the Sustainable Development Goals at the UN Summit in September 2015. Promoting UHC is one of the key priorities for the Elders, that group of independent former leaders founded by Nelson Mandela, which I have the great honor to be a member. We believe that health is a human right and that no one should be denied that right or forced into poverty to access the health care they need. In this hall, and indeed across this great country, you are blessed with talented medical professionals, world-class hospitals and research institutes, and an almost unparalleled capacity for technological innovation. Yet, at least 28 million of your fellow Americans don't have any health insurance coverage, despite health costs taking up 17.1% of this country's gross national product. As my dear friend and fellow elder, President Jimmy Carter, wrote last year, I was very pleased the Dean also quoted Jimmy Carter. He just wrote, "This is a national scandal." What makes it all the more unacceptable is that all other wealthy countries have achieved universal health coverage, and there are plenty of successful models for you to follow. You need only look to your northern neighbours in Canada or across the Atlantic to Western Europe to see reliable, efficient, and affordable public health systems that cover the whole population and enjoy deep-rooted popular support. Why? Here's the basic question. Why should Americans not enjoy the same health rights as citizens of other countries around the globe? Why does the United States have a lower life expectancy than Costa Rica, which has UHC, and a higher maternal mortality rate than Kazakhstan? Why should healthcare costs remain the biggest cause of bankruptcy in the United States, thwarting the hopes and ambitions of hardworking families? I know fully that I'm preaching to the converted here when I tell you that the reasons are, of course, grounded in politics rather than medical practice. Americans desperately need leaders who have the courage and resilience to tackle the vested interests of the healthcare industry, pharmaceutical companies, and insurance companies, and extend health coverage to those who need it most. And I am heartened to see that this conversation is vigorously underway in the United States. Last November, a number of the elders convened a meeting at the Bellevue Public Hospital in New York to bring together doctors, politicians, and media to share best practice and support bold leadership. One of the elders was Gru Brundtland, and she asked me to remind you all that she is a graduate of the Harvard T.H School of Public Health. And this September, in San Francisco, we'll organize a similar event just before the Climate Summit, and I will be there with President Ricardo Lagos of Chile to blaze a trail for universal health coverage in California. I believe that despite the hyper-partisan arguments in Washington, momentum for universal health coverage is unstoppable in the United States. And this is why I say that you graduate at such a key moment for global health and for the achievement of universal health coverage here in the United States. Looking down at your bright young faces, knowing you've had the privilege of being educated at the Harvard T.H School of Public Health, I have every confidence that you will meet the challenges head-on. You're in the right place at the right time. I warmly congratulate you, and I wish you every success and deep fulfillment in your lives. Thank you.
All you op-ed writers out there, get ready with the keyboard. We're going to keep the momentum going in September. Universal health care. As is our tradition, we ask a representative of the school's Alumni Association to bring official greetings to you and welcome our graduates to the alumni community. It is therefore my honor to introduce M. Rashad Massoud, he is president of the Harvard T.H School Alumni Association. Rashad received his MPH in International Health from the school in 1993. He is a physician and a public health specialist who is internationally recognized for his leadership in global health care improvement. Rashad currently serves as director of the USAID Applying Science to Strength and Improve Health Systems project. He is also Chief Medical and Quality Officer, as well as Senior Vice President of the Quality and Performance Institute at University Research Company, or URC. URC is an international organization that provides innovative evidence-based solutions to health and social challenges worldwide. At URC, Rashad leads quality improvement efforts in over 40 countries, applying improvement science to better deliver results in public health priority areas. I am delighted to invite Dr. Rashad Massoud to the podium to deliver the alumni greetings. Welcome, Rashad.
Dean Michelle Williams, President Mary Robinson, Elizabeth Solomon, Jamison Languorous, esteemed faculty, and fellow graduates, class of 2018. It is an honor for me to be with you on this special occasion and to deliver this speech on behalf of the Alumni Association. I came here to the Harvard T.H. School of Public Health in 1992. As an international student, I was invited to a special two-week seminar before the MPH classes started. The school provided this seminar as a way for us international students to learn about our new environment, so we could hit the ground running when the MPH program started. During these 2 weeks, the school administrators and faculty talked to us about what to expect from the school, what to expect from the student experience. They told us about life in Boston. They even spoke to us about how to write an essay. Many of us were used to styles other than that of the American essay writing. The most curious thing we heard about was something they called the culture shock. I don't just mean the culture shock from being in America, coming from a foreign country. They were also talking about the culture shock of being at Harvard, the pace, the work, everything associated with that. They assured us that since we had been admitted, we had all the necessary qualifications to succeed at the school. But there was one thing that might cause us not to be successful, and that's being intimidated by the Harvard name. At that time, I was here with my wife. We were newlyweds, and in the evenings, I would go home, and I would talk about my classes and what happened that day. I asked her a few times about this culture shock thing, and I said, are you experiencing any culture shock being here or anything? She said, no, this place is great. She loved it. So did I. Time flew by, and the next thing I knew, I was graduating. We had a beautiful ceremony just like this one. And I was on a plane with my wife heading back home to Palestine. I had taken leave from my work to get my MPH, and when I returned home, literally the day after I landed, I went straight back to work, same place that I used to be at before. On that first day, I came back home, and I asked my wife, I said, do you remember they used to talk to us about the culture shock? It actually hit me today. I'll never forget that. It was such a culture shock. I don't know if they still talk to you about it or not, but be prepared for it. It comes when you go back to work and find that although you may have moved light years ahead because of the incredible education you got here at the school, back at work, everything may pretty much be the same as you left it. In fact, it could even be exactly where you left it. Now, that doesn't mean that the field of public health has stayed the same. On the contrary, we're looking at an ever-changing landscape. We are looking at health conditions related to longevity, health conditions that are related to our new lifestyles. The double burden of illness persists in low and middle-income countries. We're looking at emerging diseases such as Ebola and Zika. We have right now an outbreak of Ebola in the DRC, if you've noticed. We're looking at these epidemics being facilitated by our movement across political and geographic boundaries. All sorts of things that are happening. One thing we're actually looking at today is this whole culture of, the heroes that in global health that would go and as expatriates and directly work filling much needed positions in foreign countries. We're trying to think through how can we go from capacity filling to capacity building through enabling the host country nationals to do the work themselves in order to develop sustainable systems for the countries to be able to take ownership and continue independent of foreign assistance. What you have learned at the Harvard Chan School has prepared you for this ever-evolving landscape. Even more important, it's really taught you how to continually learn in order to face the future challenges in public health, which we don't know about today. The world needs you. It needs the new thinking, the methods, the skills, the tools that you have learned here. And these are the very same things that will help you move forward in this rapidly changing field. As president of the Harvard Chan School Alumni Association, I would be remiss if I didn't remind you that as you graduate, you will become an important part of a vibrant 14,000-strong global alumni network. You will find colleagues, peers, mentors all over the world that you can connect with and work with. And these relationships may last for a lifetime. I know some of my relationships exist from the days I was at school. This is a network of individuals who are amongst the world's best public health scientists and practitioners. I invite you to join the Alumni Association's activities, committees, and council as well, so you can become even more deeply involved in our global public health efforts all over the world. In closing, I also want to remind you, be prepared for the culture shock, just in case. Thank you.
Good morning, welcome. The Harvard Chan Student Awards honor outstanding students generally through a selective nomination and committee deliberation process. This year, we recognize 14 students. I will announce each of their awards and names and ask them to stand in place and be recognized. Please hold your applause until I've announced all of the student award winners. I'm pleased to announce the following student awards. The Albert Schweitzer Award, Benjamin Ohihos Iwanadungbun. The Dr. Feng Ching Sun Memorial Award to Mary Melissa Wesley. The Edgar Haber Award in Biological Sciences to Wesley Wong. The Gareth M. Green Award for Excellence in Public Health to Daniel Myran. The James H. Ware Award for Achievement in the Practice of Public Health to Kia L. Bird. The Robert B. Reed Prize for Excellence in Biostatistical Science to Helian Feng and Jonathan Lee Logue Larson. The Student Recognition Award to Allison Morton. Teaching Assistant Awards to Caitlin Ann Cook, Jacqueline Lorraine Jan, Lyndon Paul Colum Ellis James, Kevin Hughes Kensler, and Lauren Jacqueline Tanz. And the Uwe Brinkman Memorial Travel Award to Allison Claire Portnoy. Join me in congratulating these outstanding students. Thank you. The Harvard Chan Teaching and Mentoring Awards are based on student feedback. The Teaching Award winners are determined through course evaluation questions focusing on quality of teaching and effectiveness in class. Student nominations and committee vote determine the Mentoring Award winners. This year, we recognize 8 faculty members. I will announce each of their awards and names and ask them to stand in place and be recognized. And once again, please hold your applause until all of the faculty award winners have been announced. I'm pleased to announce the following faculty awards. The Roger L. Nichols Excellence in Teaching Award goes to Marcia Castro, Professor of Demography in the Department of Global Health and Population. 3 teaching citations are awarded to E. John Orov, Associate Professor in the Department of Biostatistics. Pamela Marie Rist, Instructor in Epidemiology and Assistant Professor of Medicine at Harvard Medical School. And Elizabeth Seeley, Adjunct Lecturer on Health Policy and Management. The Outstanding Teacher in Executive and Continuing Professional Education Award goes to Edward Marr, Adjunct Lecturer on Environmental Science. And this year, we are pleased to give 3 mentoring awards to Jessica Cohen, Associate Professor of Global Health, Laura Kobzanski, the Lee Kum Kee Professor of Social and Behavioral Sciences and co-director of the Center for Health and Happiness, and Janet Rich Edwards, Associate Professor in the Department of Epidemiology. Congratulations to the faculty award winners. The Sarah K. Wood Award was established by friends and admirers of Sarah K. Wood in tribute to her many years of exceptional service to Harvard University and the Harvard T.H. School of Public Health. It recognizes a staff member who demonstrates the qualities of dedication, competence, positive attitude, initiative, and ability to mentor, encourage, and inspire others, in addition to a demonstrated commitment to the school and its mission. This year, the award is given to Catherine M. Giles, Program Manager, Department of Social and Behavioral Sciences. The Staff Recognition Award was created by the Student Association to ensure that members of the Harvard Chan community who are neither faculty nor students are acknowledged for their great efforts to help students at the school. This award is intended to acknowledge the importance of non-classroom and mentoring activities on the lives of students. This year, we recognize 2 staff members, Mark Corte, Sebastian's Cafe, Harvard Dining Services, and Tiffany Sarkissian, Research Assistant, Department of Environmental Health. The Community Engagement Award was created this year by the Student Association. It represents a unique opportunity for students and community members to recognize faculty, researchers, and staff who have served as a source of inspiration by demonstrating a commitment to improving health and well-being in the communities where we work. This year's inaugural winners are Rebecca Lee, Research Scientist, Department of Social and Behavioral Sciences, and David Hemingway, Professor of Health Policy, Department of Health Policy and Management. Please join me in applauding these award winners. Stan Hudson, our former Associate Dean for Student Services, will now read the names of doctoral degree candidates while the department chair robes the candidates.
Professor Gökhan Hotamishligil and Professor Eric Rubin will be hooding the following doctoral candidates from the program in Biological Sciences and Public Health. Kasia Baranowski. Elias Garrick. Bobby Brooke Herrera. Perrine Marsenek. Allison Morton. Jamaji Nwanaji Enweren. Crystalline Rhodes. Lauren Robertson. Wesley Wong. Elena Yermolovich. Mustafa Yilmaz. Ye Zhang. Professor Shi Hong Lin of the Department of Biostatistics will be hooding the following doctoral graduates. David Chung. Catherine Fisher Berry Correa. Kevin Francis Comiskey. Katrina Lee Divick. Emily Marie Slade. Professor Russ Hauser of the Department of Environmental Health will be hooding the following doctoral graduates from that department. Chi Chuang Chang. Clifton Dawson Sayo. Kelvin Fong Chi Chung. Shang Ji Gao. Hu Xin Di. Sheng Quan Lin. B.E. Lin. Elizabeth Ann Lair. Jung Un Lee. Alexander Chu Wu. Yan Wang. Di Chen. Professor Bert Hoffman of the Department of Epidemiology will be hooding the following doctoral graduates from that department. Molly Elise Barnard. Justin Matthew Bond. Kasarina Bykoff. Erin Elizabeth Cook. Jennifer Kai Gillis. Dominique Nicole Heinke. Kevin Hughes Kensler. Alexis Ann Crummy. Howard Liu. Sarah Colleen McDonald. Amanda Rose Markovitz. Olivia R. Orta. Julie M. Peg. Claire Hampton Panar. Lauren Jacqueline Tans. Lu Zhang. Cha Yua Chong. Professor Wafai Fauzi of the Department of Global Health and Population will be hooding the following doctoral graduates from that department. Catherine Gilman Andrews. Chi Mao Chen. Joshua Zhang. Karima Ladani. Alicia Larson. Ellen Elizabeth Moscow. Osandu Ogbuji. Katrina Francis Ortblad. Akfer Saxena. Maria Ward Steenland. Professor Frank Hu of the Department of Nutrition will be hooding the following doctoral graduates from that department. Ahmed Ali Al-Hassani. Manar Mohammed Al-Jassaf. Alyssa Jacqueline Moran. Joshua Pedimer. Professor Ichiro Kawachi of the Department of Social and Behavioral Sciences will be hooding the following doctoral graduates. Avanti Bharat Adia. Emeka Pascal Agudilia. Catherine M. Barker. Justin Michael Feldman. Stephen Paul Hafner. Jun Lynn Flora Orr. Justin Rogers. Mansi Sharma. Natasha Alexandra Sokol. Christiana Dagmar Jesse von Hippel. Emily Samantha Nash Zevon. Jill Hahn. Rick Segrist, Director of the Doctor of Public Health Program, will be hooding the following DRPH students. Emily Vasey Abraham. Rosemary Mamka Anyona. Seshia Michelle Aquino Agueta. Christine Alexandra Bonet. Vanessa Brizuela. Tiffany C. Ting Chan. Claire Gabrielle Veronique Chaumont. Jessica Leety Werner Flannery. Kristen Eileen Gilmer. Jeffrey D. Glenn. Taisha Jackson. Zina Man Jarrah. Jonathan Stag J. Shoshana Elke Levine. Lavinia Roxandra Matroy. Sana Rafia Mostagim. Usman Munir. Sadia Abdul Mukith. Yoshini Naomi Ropasinghe. Megan Venable Thomas. Pablo Andres Villalobos Dintrans. Mary Melissa Wesley. Christopher James Wheelahan. Fang Yang. Okay. For the Masters in Healthcare Management, Drew Herman Philip Accordino. Timothy Stephen Albert. Melam Bualawan. Barika Maurice Butler. Gerard Michael Cleary. Jorge Dacourt Rizo Patron. Hashem Abdullah Al-Tahawi. Scott Ryan Fecto. Diane Francoeur. Patrick James Fullerton, in memory of Linder Fullerton. David Spencer George. Stephen James Hattemer. Rajneesh Janyal. Young Jo Kim. Donald Mark Kirkpatrick. Sanjay Kulkarni. Matthew Tolbert Logan. Lauren Jennifer Lynette. Adam Lees Myers. Brian Nussenbaum. David Lee Pierce. Mario Alberto Rascon. Eric J. Rashba. Stephen Young Reed. Lauren Lynn Rourke. Christoph Anthony Sahar. Paul L. Wasserman. Master of Arts in Biostatistics, Kareem Carr. Jinri Kao. Master of Science in Biostatistics, Yi Ding. Kara Beth Higgins. Benjamin Hong. Maximilian Stefan Jench. Kale Zena Pone. Hong Yu Lee. Grace Catherine Mahoney. Leonce Enshuti. Derek Richard Shear. Kathy Wong. Christopher Yee. Chu Hao Zhang. Master of Science in Computational Biology and Quantitative Genetics, Noura Jazim Al-Muftah. Connor Dennis Foley. Fang Wen Hong. Yi Shi Liu. Isabel Marie Mealing. Shi Nan Wang. Alexander Wu. Lin Ying Zhang. Nancy Ann Zhang. Master of Science in Environmental Health, Khaled Saleh Al-Masor. Nicholas Joseph Arisco. Chen Xing Gu. Lejia Zhang. Man Liu. Lacey Nicole Reyna. Mei Kyoko Wu. Yen Jun Wu. Anna Swift Young. Master of Science in Epidemiology, Aaron Weldon Ade. Onella Dawkins. Fadi Elias. Michael P. Freilich. Mo Chi Guo. Kieran Michael Halloran. Su Hui Han. Inga Holmdahl. Rebecca Jean Kahn. Bora Kang. Amanda Marie Bell Kelly. Nazleen Fatima Khan. Ji Yun Kim. Nithin Kondaparam. Nitya Pradeep Kumar. Kingsley Lung. Chang Lu. Michael Martin. Sun A Park. Yu Mong Yuen. Sebastian Alfonso Rodriguez Torres. Yu Yang Soon. Jordan Blair Strom. Emily Celeste Taylor. Derek Sang. Kelsley Angela Rackaman. Ro Yi Wang. Vicky Ki Wing. Michelle Renee Zhu. Yong Ling Yi. Jennifer Jean Island. Ching Hui Yu. Oscar Efren Zazueta Fierro. Etienne Xiang. Zhongli Joel Zhang. Master of Science, Global Health and Population, Madeline Elizabeth Adams. Mia Monique Blackstead. Alexandra Earl. Estella Gong. Esther Lim. Sohini Mukherjee. Kaylin Marie Stovall. Scott Thomas Weathers. Jesse Hardwick Wilson. Jiao Yong Xiong. Master of Science, Social and Behavioral Sciences, Carolyn Elizabeth Perry. Master of Public Health. Misaker El-Shitu Abate. Beza Abate. Carl Joseph Castillo Abeleda. Rohit Abraham. Boya Abadu. John Adams. Lauren Brittany Adams. Oluwakemi Atoke Adegoke. Oluwatomi Luwagbami Asola Adeoti. Corinne Elsa Ainsworth. Queen Alike. Benjamin Ohihos Iwanodagaban. Kristen Elm Alves. Tomas Antonio Andriocci. Bernard Eugene Enim. Jacob Thomas Ankeny. Emily Levenstein Arson. Roe Locke Astor. Omer Abdul Rahman Awan. Jacob Anthony Barrera. Glenn W. Barrisford. Charlotte Rothschild Baynard. Beata Cornelia Beinvogel. Brandon David Bernard. Hyla Miriam Bernstein. Rachel Adler Bishop. Alexis Rabin Bullock. Nicia Capello Brazil. Julie Page Brown. Brett Stephen Burstein. Nirma Dora Bustamante. Kia Lissay Bird. Marilyn Ann Cabrera. Rosana Maria Calderon Moreno. Julia Rose Penner Caproni. Travis Daniel Carpenter. Anthony M. Casapau. Adil Sata Chaudhry. Po Hua Chen. Zerta Chen. Michael Shin Hua Chen Chu. Cheryl Chu. Dennis Chornke. Po Han Cho. Hei Gi Chung. Isabel Citron. Rachel Cluett. Edgar Corona. Christopher Vincent Cosgriff. Jake Krukal. Jose Benjamin Cruz Rodriguez. Charlotte Louise Kadashi. Deb Dash. Max Deng. Mihir Desai. Payal Desai. Jonathan Lee DeBello. Emily Dawn Van. Malise Peruso dos Santos. David Byron Douglas. Yo-Yo Duanu. Gareng Majok Dut. Rachel Mary Earl. Toby Emmanuel. Idalia Eshel Furrer. Brittany Elizabeth Esty. Ijama Ejafur. Temidayu A. Fadelu. Sophia Faisal. Zarim Mehrin Farouki. Caitlin Brooke Ferreira. Ryan Frisbee. Kana Fujikura. Alastair Fung. Rahul Suresh Gandhi. Rashri Maintia Gartland. Matthew Christopher Gurmak. Sue Gosh. Edie David Gold. Emily Faye Goldhar. Sarah Ann Golub. Ivory Fania Gomez. Natalia Gormley. Catherine Griffin Gorski. Maya Gottlieb. Basanta Gorung. Colton Gustafson. Diane F. Ha. Kevin Andrew Hall. Ramiz Nair Hamid. Alice Han. Keiko Haneda. Catherine Allison Hanneman. Kirsten Elise Hansen. Jordan Justice Haba Williams. Marshall Toby Hayes. Juan Pablo Herrera Escobar. Jessica Joan Hickey. Xu Yo Qian. David Hubbard. Bezoit Mesfin Hunengno. Adam Firth Hunt. Katsuhito Ihara. Marok Fahad Irani. Catherine Vanessa Isaac. Lara Jackson. Pragati Jaswal. Sabah Mahrin Janjua. Ajang Cyrus Javan. Lisette Jimenez. David Shu Jin. Sayuri Kriyadavshika Jinadasa. Pishamon Jarapino. Daniel Johnson. Bronwyn Louise Jones. Andrew Hines Calwaite. Ryan Martin Kane. Bolanli Aisha Kasali. Patrick Kenneth Arlie Kearns. Natalia Kalaf. Dara Khatib. Adedopo Adegoke Kiladaji. Ji Yong Kim. Peggy Kim. Jeffrey Daniel Kaiser. Rebecca Schof Kozak. Margaret Duncan Krasny. Christine Faye Crater. Monica Lynn Creedy. Glenn Brendan Krugelitz. Emma Lads. Janica Lagu. Allison Mary Lay. Nafisha Lalani. Megan Lam. Stephanie Ann Lane. Jirarut Nu Lavingvongskon. Winton Preston David Lasley. Charlotte Laurent Costasien. Ciara Leatherwood. Heymin Lee. Ji Young Lee. Rachel Booth Lewis. David Douglas Lick. David Banyas Limhoko. Claire Elizabeth Lynn. Antonella Camelo Lasanti. James Alexander Little. Fei Chi Liu. Michael A. Liu. Yi Liu. Alex Lee Lockman. Beth Ann Lopez. Sarah Luth. Paula Mattis McGee. Guilherme Moreira Magnavita. Samuel Jared Maman. Anushka Ajit Mangharam. Andrea Gislena Manjanera. Ariana Stavro Manicio. Noel Griffin Martinez. Sarika Mather. Haruki Matsumoto. Kelsey Cameron McNamara. Patrick John McSherry. Morgan Medlock. Jacob Ari Mandalis. Ezra Ross Miller. Jamison John Languorous. Mariana Berenice Morra. Saran Motilal. Daniel Myron. Fatima Nabi. Liem Bin Luong Nguyen. Lin Nguyen. Monica Anna Nievstas. Eneka Ifoma Nzekwo. Chiagoziem Jane Obia Junwa. Adedolapo Ayindamola Ojo. Omonike Arike Olaleye. Peter Kirchhoff Olds. Kofowarala Rebecca Onagbola. David Philip Op. Ana Sofia Ore Carranza. Pedro Alberto Orta II. Anna Karen Ortiz Ilisalitori. Deborah Shue Ming Pan. Nilima Pants. Jesse David Pasternak. Priya Patel. Shreya Patel. Priya Pathak. Rose Sarah Penfold. Enio Torres Perez. Thomas Josiah Petit. Elizabeth Quenin Peters. Ramya Pinanmaneni. Bebop Pokarel. Sabrina Josephine Poon. Sabrina Popatia. Dennis Anthony Pardo. Gabrielle Prager. Andre Parira Putra. Andrea Quinones Rivera. Saranya Marakrishnan. Aparna Rajam Rabanathan. Laura Rappaport. Sherwet Ibrahim Rashid. Chelsea Allison Rice. Aude Emmeline Jean Richard. Blair Ann Robinson. Alexander Amon Rogers. Anthony Rodriguez. Fabiana Victoria Rodriguez Lopez. Michael Ray Rose. Kayla Sarah Rosenberg. David Isaac Rosenwine. Patrick Thomas Ross. Leila Romani. Kayla Rudolph. Barrett Nicholas Michael Rush. Alexandra E. Sack. Timur Safter. Simone Shaney Lauren Sandler. Gorkanok Sarinkarisate. Rahuldeb Sakar. Koryo Sato. Christopher Martin Sauer. Gregory Michael Schrenk. Jesse Milo Schwartz. Shravanthi Manyum Seshafsai. Divya Sate. Kanjan Bakshi Shah. Rohan Mahesh Shah. Omer Shakil. Alicia Sheikh. Andrew Shapiro. Margaret Caitlin Sheehy. Joshua L. Shields. Samira Shojai. Ian Barry Solsky. Lauren Elizabeth Southwick. Sunny Steyerwalt. Mark John Stoltenberg. Anne Nicole Stumpf. Simon Sun. Fanan Suprasiri. Mata Sylvia. Alejandro Gabriel Schmulowitz. Hari Manohalal Tareja. Kanako Teramoto. Eloisa Fusaro Terra. Paulina Dolosa Dort. Lauren Ann Tonti. Tram Lee Tran. Wen Cha Song. Samantha Tai. Julia E. M. Upton. Oren Varney. Maxine Amanda Velasquez. Sukanya Morali Venkadisen. Vidya Venkateswaran. Veronica Lee Ventura. Michael Ryan Reyes Viseño. Hernan Vonsacheng. Carly Barbara Villeman. Kerry Johnston Wachter. Corina Wainwright. Valencia P. Walker. Shi Yu Annie Wang. Stephen Weiss. Daniel Wexler. Bram Peter Wispele. Luke Bulugeta Walde Johannes. Alex Lewis Woods. Yang Wen Qian. Hajime Yano. Kan Hua In. Elizabeth Sachiko Young. Ryan Yun. Osama Abdel Fattah Zakot. Jorge Alberto Zuniga Hernandez. Gregory Thomas Swissler. Ladies and gentlemen, the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, class of 2018.
Wow. Woo. We're almost there. In the past years, this would have been the moment where you moved your mortarboard tassels from the right to the left as a sign of your entry into the company of learned women and men. However, today's event is in fact a convocation, not a commencement. Your final commencement will take place in Cambridge tomorrow. But isn't this so much nicer that you actually get 4 tickets instead of 2? That I can see your beautiful family and friends, all the way down to Longwood. This tent's barely big enough. Nevertheless, this is a moment that marks the end of our academic year here at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. And so to mark this important passage, I ask all of our graduates to please stand. May your future be filled with joy, satisfaction, and success as you work to make the world a healthier, happier, and more just place. Congratulations to you all, and best wishes on your journey ahead. Please join me in as rousing a cheer to congratulate all of our graduates.